Hey everybody, I'm coming making this video message today to tell you keep children out of adult matters. The reason why I am making this video message is because there seems to be a surge of full grown men and women having tasteless, unsuitable, inappropriate and unbecoming conversations in the presence of children, teenagers, and even young adults. And this needs to be addressed because it could really cause a lot of problems that kind of are perpetual, or it can turn into very uncomfortable and tense situations if the wrong information gets out, depending on what you are talking about. Now, before I get to the message, let me tell you all something. When I was a child and my mother and father were going to have company over, it could have been neighbors they were cool with. It could have been certain family members. It could have been their friends were coming over to hang out with them or to have a drink or have dinner or just to check in with each other. If myself and three brothers were still in the house, we were told, hear me when I tell you, we were not asked, we were told to either go outside and play, find something productive to do that was not in the room that our parents were in with their company, or we were told to outright go into our rooms. And if we came out of our room or came back in the house before we were told to come back in the house or come out of the room, or if it was not an emergency, we got disciplined. We got disciplined, reprimanded. Sometimes we would even get whipped, depending on what it was. And you got whipped because if you had came out the room and you heard particular things that you were not supposed to hear, then that would determine the outcome of your disobedience. Now, in 2023, a lot of parents are doing things different. And it is just, like I said, there seems to be a surge of this where parents or grown people, period, they are very comfortable talking about their enemies, telling other grown people business, repeating and revealing things that were told to them in confidence in front of children. And this needs to be addressed. This needs to be brought on Front Street, because when you start having discussions in front of your children about other people, I don't think everybody understands the door that you're actually opening with your children, directly and indirectly, not only with you, but with other people that they don't know. Now, let me just break something down to you all. Let me break something down. The first thing is this: as the parent or the guardian, or if you are an aunt, an uncle, a older sibling, whatever your title and position is with that child or children, you have to understand that you have more than likely a certain level of influence over those children. And so when you begin to talk about other people and you pass your personal opinions about them, those children are going to agree with you. They're going to come into agreement with you. They're going to believe whatever you say. If you don't like a particular person, or your personal opinion about a person is passed, your child is going to be in agreement with you because you're their mother. or you're their father, or you're their big brother, or you're their big sister, or you're their favorite aunt, or you're their favorite uncle, favorite cousin, or whoever, or play aunt, play cousin, play brother, play sister. All I'm saying is that with you having a certain amount of influence over your children, they're going to ride with you. They are going to be loyal to you and how you feel about other people and situations because of your influence and position in their life. In some cases, children will go against their parent or they will pick sides, but usually that comes as your child gets older. And depending on how your child personality develops, that also determines if they're going to side with you or another person. What I'm saying to you all is that you must be careful opening this door, because when you open up this door with children, it is going to affect not only how children interact with you as the parent or the grown person, but how they're going to interact with other kids or other grown people. And if that level of respect that your children are supposed to have with other people is not there, you now put other parents, other guardians, and other mentors or people of the cloth in a position to be disrespected, dismissed, and disregarded. And a lot of times they don't understand why it's happening. They were not in your home the day that you chose to talk about that brother or sister in Christ that you don't care for in front of your child or children. So let's say, for instance, you're sitting in a house and you have a couple of your friends over, or there are a few of the neighbors you're cool with and you all attend the same church. When you allow these people to come into your house, you all may want to discuss certain church matters that are going on. You all may be in some type of auxiliary within the kingdom. And if you have someone that offended you in the church, or you caught somebody doing something, or you're just not in agreement with something that went down, once you start having a discussion about that particular brother or sister and you take it below the belt, you start hitting below the belt. You're talking about their appearance. You're talking about gossip you heard about them. You're talking about a scandal they were in. You're talking about a rumor you heard. Or you're simply just passing your very, very strong and inappropriate opinion and view on that brother or sister in Christ in front of your child. You cannot be certain that once your child sees that man or woman of the cloth, that they will have respect for them. How do you know, as the parent or guardian or whoever you are to that child or children, how do you know that you may not go to church one Sunday and your kids are in Sunday school and that brother or sister you were speaking negatively about, or you told some of their very personal business that you know about but your kids should not know about, and that brother or sister tells your child to do something? Maybe they told your child, stop talking loud, stop running around the church. Okay, you just got done eating, clean up the table. If your child comes out because they are offended that they were corrected by someone in the church, okay, and your child blurts out, oh, I heard about you. That's why my mother doesn't like you. That's why my father doesn't like you. I heard that your husband cheated on you. I heard you lost your car. I heard you got fired from your job. I heard you got kicked out your house. These are very serious things that go on, but they circulate and spread because grown people have these types of conversations when children are in the room. You cannot be comfortable and feel like, well, my child knows whatever goes on in this house and whatever I discuss or whatever goes on under this roof, they know not to go back and repeat it or reveal it to other people. You can't be that trusting. You can't be that comfortable. Kids are going to be kids. Let's say, even though your child or children didn't go to church and they did not make a statement to a brother and sister in Christ you were speaking ill of. What if that brother or sister in Christ has children and those children are cool with yours and they bump heads with each other? Kids can become very cruel and very evil when they fall out with their friends. And they also will hit below the belt. And if you, as the mother or the father or the grandparent or the older sibling, whoever you are, whatever statements you made about those people in the church, at your job, or other family members who were not around, you don't know when your child is getting into it with their little cousins or the neighbors' kids or certain brothers and sisters in Christ's children. You really don't know how far your children or your child would take it. You have to think about this stuff. You have to use a lot of wisdom. Also, now, some of you all, I'm going to jump ahead of you. Some of you all may say, well, I trust my child. I have raised my son and daughter. They're not going to open their mouth. They're not going to go back and repeat or reveal anything because they know I don't play with them. I train my children to not open up their mouth. They know what to tell and what not to tell. And I can believe some of you all if you were to say that. But here's another perspective. Let's look at this on the flip side. What if your children, they are faced with the people you have been talking about? They've come across you having several conversations about different people that you have interpersonal relationships with, or you have fallen out with certain people you used to be cool with. And like I said, these people can be in different positions in your life. They can be that brother or sister of the cloth in the church. It could be the man or woman of God, meaning the pastor or the first lady. It could be one of the ministers. It could be one of the deacons or deaconess. It could be one of the musicians. It could be a particular married couple. You don't know. It could be another family member. You don't know if your child chooses to not open up their mouth. Your child can just have a very nasty disposition towards these other grown people you were speaking on. Children have been put in a position where they know their mother doesn't like a certain woman, or they know their mom and dad does not like certain neighbors or certain people in the church or certain family members that they're beefing with. And when they see these people and they may speak to your child, they may completely separate their issue that they have with you or your spouse and completely remove themselves from that, but they still show your child or your children love. You don't know if your child is still going to have a nasty disposition towards them or still be rude towards them. If that brother or sister in Christ or that neighbor or that co-worker happens to come around, or you bring your children to, bring your child at work day, whatever, and that person says something to your child, they could simply smile at them or say, hey, how you doing? And your child is rolling their eyes at them. They're smacking their lips at them. They're ignoring them. They're not saying anything to them. In the midst of them speaking to them or trying to engage them, just to say hi, asking them about school, asking them how they are. Your child may just walk away from them. It's unfair to put your child or your children in these types of positions. It's unfair. What you as a grown man or grown woman have going on with other people, you never put your children in a position to where they have the same problems and issues with those grown people. Because guess what? Those grown people did nothing wrong to your children. You never put your child or your children in a position where they have to pick a side. It's immature, it's childish, and it is unfair. And so what I'm telling you all in this video message, you have to be more aware of your children being in the room or being in the vicinity when you are having certain conversations. See, I'm not going to go there and tell you all don't talk about certain things at all, because I think all of us are guilty of this. If all of us tell the truth, all of us are guilty of speaking about certain situations with people that we have fallen out with and people we don't get along with. But it's not really talked about how when children are involved in certain things or made to pick a side, that makes your current situation with an enemy or with other people that you have to come in contact with directly or indirectly. It makes the situation more tense. It makes the situation worse. You have to think about this stuff. You have to care about these things. You have to care about these things because our children, they are going to be friends with the children of grown people we may not care for. This is a fact. You may have an issue with your neighbors, okay? But your neighbors have children that are cool with your son or cool with your daughter, or they're cool with your children. So are you telling me that if you have beef with a church member or a couple within the church or a neighbor, or you're beefing with a coworker, if you all were cool at one point and they would come to your house, you would go to their house, you would have picnics and birthday parties, barbecues, they would come over, you introduce your kids to their kids, what makes you think that your children are going to break away from friends that they made initially before you fell out with one of those particular people? The bottom line is that we don't know who our kids talk to. We don't know every conversation our children are having with other people. We don't know every single person our children are cool with. And you may feel like in the comfort of your home, you're having these conversations with people, you're making these statements, you're revealing certain things you ought not reveal. You're passing your strong opinions, like I said in the beginning of this video. You're passing your strong opinions about that brother or sister in Christ, that neighbor, that coworker, that family member. You still don't know how much of that your child heard. You don't know if your child is ever going to be put in a position where that comes out. Kids get vicious when they get angry. They get vicious. And if they don't get vicious with other grown people, they get vicious with other children. Children, they go in when they fall out with a friend. When they have these beefs and these fights at school, with situations like this, it gets ugly. It gets ugly. And if you are telling the wrong information, people have gotten seriously hurt. I've seen situations where grown people were constantly talking about a particular church member, a particular brother or sister in Christ, or they were talking about a particular family member or a neighbor, and things got so heated, things got so bad, that family had to actually move away, or that family had to transfer their child out of the school because they entrusted you with information and you all were cool and something went down. It's personal between you and that neighbor, or you and that family member, or you and that church member. And it leaked to the ears of your children. We have got to get our children back to a level where they have respect. We have got to get children back to a level where they stay out of grown folks' business. Parents are bringing their kids to fights that they said they're going to have with some other grown man or woman they have a beef with. This is how ignorant, violent, and rude and ghetto a lot of parents have become. And I'm especially targeting African American people. A lot of my topics that I bring to the forefront is for all races, all ages, and people of all backgrounds, because all types of people follow me. But I always want to target the African American community. We have got to do better. Don't you dare bring your children in your drama that you're having with other grown people. Don't you dare put your child or children in a position to pick a side of people that they don't like or that you don't like, and you're making them side with you. You're putting your child in a position where they have to choose between their friends and their relationship with you. You got to understand, as the parent, you're always going to have the relationship with your children because you're the parent. You're the grandmother, you're the grandfather, you're the auntie, you're the uncle, you're the big brother, you're the big sister, you're the mom, you're the dad. But why do your children have to choose between, okay, I gotta make my mother and father happy, versus now I gotta stop talking to one of the elders in the church because my mother feel like I'm betraying her, or my father would feel like I'm betraying him, or the neighbor would feel like, I'm wrong to stop talking to them because my mother really is guilty about something disrespectful she did or said to them. It's just a lot of different angles with this, but the bottom line here is you've got to keep these babies out of grown folks' matters. Tell your children to leave the room. When you want to vent, when you want to go off with your husband or with your wife or with your older grown children, you need to tell your little children, go to your room, go outside, go clean up, or go do this. And you still need to be very careful what you are discussing. You still need to be careful what you're discussing and what you're putting out there. This is real stuff that goes on every single day, but nobody wants to address this stuff anymore. Nobody wants to bring it to the forefront. Nobody wants to talk about it. Many people are guilty of it, though. Many people are guilty of it, though. And like I tell you all the time, if I have to be the only one or the first one to bring it to the forefront, then that's what I'm going to do. Bring the kids back to a level of respect. Your kids should not be in the midst of grown people you are beefing with and bumping heads with. Period. That's the video message. Well, guys, it's time for me to go because I have some other things to do. The Lord willing, I will be back with another video message. If any one of you have been offended by anything I spoke about in this video message, it's okay. It's all right. I'm not worried about it. I am not concerned because I know you will forgive me in the morning.